So I got bored the other day and wanted to go back and look at some of my first Catify designs because it was the new year and why not? And I did it only to realize that some of these guys do not look as good as I remember them being like 5-6 years ago. So I did what anyone else would do since I've been on a Sander Sides kick because of the newest episode release, and I redid all of them within 2 days. Because why not? Alright, so I'm jumping right into this. We are starting with Thomas first, despite Logan being the actual first Catify I ever really did, officially. I wanted to kind of use Thomas as a base for everybody else, similar to what I did with my Gordon Freeman design, as there are so many different Gordons. We have a Gordonverse on Tumblr or fucking wherever, and I actually love Gordonverse, so please check it out. Anyway, I still wanted him to be kind of like a brown tabby, because I am kind of biased because I like tabbies. I decided instead of just going with the normal chest fur I had was fine, going over the lighter accents around his muzzle, chest, belly, and then also underneath his tail is just kind of like break up all the brown that's going to be in there. I also added a little bit onto the edge of his paws, kind of keeping it very similar to what the original design was. And then instead of the splotches, I just have like a back stripe, a darker back stripe going. I was gonna, and also around like his ears going up to his head, that sort of thing. He's like one of the only ones that actually have it going up to his head, which is really interesting. I originally had the ear tips being that darker color. I'm like, no, fuck it, I want the eyes. I also added a lot more stripes than like I normally do for these kind of designs, just because for fun. Also just sharpening them out, making them look nicer. Also added some onto his cheeks, just for fun. There's not really a rhyme or reason to what I do for a lot of these designs. It's mostly just because it looks cool. I noticed throughout all of this though that I consistently get his eye color wrong. I'm like, oh, it's gotta be blue. No, it's actually like brown, hazily kind of sick. So I did kind of like more amber eyes for his eyes, and yeah, overall I like it. I mean, it's a lot more cohesive compared to the other one. I get why I added the purple because he had purple hair at the time, but like now it's just easier, more cohesive. He just looks better. He also looks like a guy. Next up, I went straight into Patton. I knew I wanted him to be a lot more rounder compared to Thomas, and also just have a smile, because like Patton's always like happy, smiling, at least most of the time anyway. I also kind of like messed around with his tail, being in more in like an upright, more happier position, because cat body language or whatever. And then obviously getting a lot of the colors from Thomas himself. Overall, he's a lot rounder, a lot fluffier, and of course I had to add his cardigan. For a lot of these guys, I'm not adding their full outfits, I'm just adding 1 or 2 items that show off their main like item or whatever. Like you'll see with like Roman going really has his sash, Logan just has his tie, things like that. I tried to have the full fur go down all the way down to his belly. It just didn't look good. I rounded out his ears. He's actually the only character I really messed with the ears. And then of course I kind of just rounded out his cheek fur because I couldn't really figure out anything else to make him look like, give him that rounded silhouette, still make it look nice. For the brown, I actually kind of desaturated it because the original design is gray on brown, which I don't like. I don't know why I did that, but he's more of a desaturated brown with like more saturated markings throughout his back, his chest, you know, that sort of thing. And I also gave him kind of like swirly markings to kind of give out that rounded kind of feel to him, as well as just generally keeping him tappy. He's actually pretty similar to Thomas in general, so yeah, I also kind of give him something like in front of his face because why not? But yeah, I love Pat. He's actually one of my favorites. I really enjoy him. I also made his eyes more brown than amber. I knew going into this that this was going to be the last one I did, and like the first day of me doing this, because I had class early the next day and I just really needed to like get some of these done. Overall, I wanted him to be a lot more formal, I guess. He's a lot thinner than everybody else. He's just a lot more straightforward. He's a lot neater as well. And just like overall, he's a lot spikier compared to Patton as well. Kind of give him more neutral expression, kind of kept the brown very similar, and also didn't make him, he just, I don't know, I feel like I'm repeating the same thing. He's just overall a lot straighter, This is when I realized that ties don't really have like a square at the top. It's more like a triangle, but that just didn't look good, so I just kept the square. You can fudge around with anatomy to make it look better. Of course, I gave him this tie. I gave him his glasses. I don't like drawing glasses, no matter how many main like kind of sonas I have that have glasses. I'm even wearing glasses. I got new glasses even. I overall made him a little bit darker compared to Thomas, with him still also a little bit desaturated. I didn't really have it going like straight up to the top of his head. I originally had like a darker back color, but I'm like, wait, that'd probably be better for his stripes, which are actually very thin. I went in actually differently how I normally do my stripes. I went in with like a sharp brush that like kind of like gives me that pointed edge, and kind of like went over it a couple times to give it that nice, clean, thin shape that I really enjoyed. The tie was a struggle because last time I just had to like general stripes, and this time I actually tried to pay attention to what the stripes actually looked like. I also gave him like a flash on his chest to kind of like differentiate him from everyone a little bit. I also gave him like extra kind of stuff on his paws, but also a smaller thing on his nose and more yellow eyes. I don't really know why. I kind of like always played around with the color of eyes and also the color of pelts, kind of exaggerating a little bit. The tie was a pain in the butt because I couldn't really kind of figure out what was going on until I like stopped and like, okay, wait, this is what we're dealing with, and it's actually quite fun. I ended up making like some of those stripes darker, kind of just like getting it as kind of close to the reference as possible. It's definitely not drawing friendly, but like, yeah. I did also go in and just like make a separate thing like, hey, this is the pattern of the tie, just to make it easier on myself. So yeah, that's Logan. I like him. I'm interested to see how he kind of relates to the orange side, which has still not been revealed yet. And yeah, I like him. He's very, very silly. I say silly a lot about all these guys. They're all very silly. I like all of them, man. So I had done this like right after I gotten back from class, I believe, the other day, and I did Roman. Now Roman is fun because I actually did his first design on a stream into a highlights video because that stream was just so chaotic. It's like Mittens the god, the stream god or whatever, because I had an image of a cat I was using as a reference for as a reference picture for his original reference, and chat fell in love with the cat and they're like, no, you can't get rid of the cat, so I kept it. So that's why you see like a little cat in the corner. I don't know why I made him a light brown at first. It seems very stupid. I instead opted for a cream. I'd also kind of make him just seem more of like that classic like royally, like very wavy kind of sort of thing. Just like very flowy. I don't really know. I wanted him to kind of contrast his brother because I thought it'd be interesting as him and Remus are twins. I feel like people forget about that, and I'm saying this like as a twin myself. Me and my sister do act like Remus and Roman. It's kind of funny. I of course gave him a sash. I tilted up his head a little bit. You kind of see me like playing around with poses a lot more with these references. I'm trying to like actually push myself when it comes to these references, about pushing myself a little bit out of the comfort zone and everything like that. But I kind of pushed when it meant for for these characters to be brown by making him more cream with white and things like that. And I knew I wanted him to be a lot lighter, a lot nicer looking, kind of also complementing his kind of jacket that he has. I kind of did a lighter brown the back and the ears, and I kind of actually switched the colors of his paws, so it's darker or lighter, and then the made fur color. And I also kind of gave him wavier stripes, that's the word. I did realize I also finally added a thing back onto his cheek because I forgot like some of them don't have it. I realized making this, he just looks like a fan child of Firestar and Sandstorm for reasons unbeknownst to me. I haven't read Warriors since the newest book, and yeah, whatever. But I kind of like play around, like messing around with like making some of the lines look neater. I did something different with his tail, kind of like have the under go longer over the darker kind of thing. You see what I mean. You see what I mean, okay? Overall, I made him more orange, I guess, with the stripes as well. He's more orange than brown, and I also desaturated the satchel a little bit because, like, yeah. I also played around a lot with this eye color. I wasn't sure what to do, so I kind of pushed it. I was playing around with like an amber, and I was like, no, that's just like too much like warmer colors, so I ended up going towards a green. I figured with him and the other sides, I could probably push the eye color a little bit and get away with it, because they're technically like figments of his imagination or something. I don't know. I didn't really know what to add for now, so I just made him. He has a large poofy tail. So I was actually kind of satisfied with Virgil's original design. I liked the idea of the patches and the purple undertones and stuff. It just didn't really look as cohesive as the rest of them. I really like Virgil. I struggled with anxiety for a long time, so he's near and dear to my heart. Hence why Glitch is a character you see around a lot. She's kind of the same premise of like embodiment of fear is anxiety. I also had to search up what Virgil's jacket like fully looked like, because there's no like complete image of what his jacket looks like. Someone had recreated it in The Sims, and I'm like, oh, fucking perfect. I'm just went with that. I do think I pushed his items a little bit. I wasn't really sure what I was gonna do, and I'm like, I have to add the jacket, because like it just doesn't seem Virgil without it. I did reference like I used another reference of Alex Vance as like a hook reference, because I'm like, I don't know how to make this fucking look good. Because Alex has a hood, whatever. I made him a lot darker compared to everybody else, as to kind of like go with that brooding, edgy feel. He's almost as brown as like my Cave Johnson design, which is kind of funny, but yeah. I actually went in with giving him actually lighter stripes compared to everybody else, where it's sort of like darker than everything else. I went in with lighter, and I also gave him higher socks and only like little lighter markings just around his toes, instead of just like kind of like the hand. I get the hand equivalent of where that would be on the paws. I also kind of gave him swirl markings similar to Roman, but they're a lot swirlier, kind of like dreamlike, I guess. I almost forgot his eye bags. I didn't though. It's not Virgil without the eye bags. And I just overall made the jacket more purple. He himself, I wanted him to stay brown, and I'm like, I don't really know how to make it brown but also purple at the same time. It just seemed weird, especially because Thomas hasn't had purple hair in many years. So yeah, the jacket was a lot harder than I thought, because I'm not good with that kind of flannelish designs, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Overall, I'm actually very pleased with the design. He changed a lot compared to his other design. I also gave him more orange eyes, because why the fuck not? And yeah. So Janice was a little bit of a struggle, because I wasn't sure what to do about the snake half of his face. I knew I needed to kind of have that cloak and the collar and also the hat, because it's not Janice without it. I also give him a short tail. He's the only guy with a short tail, because like snake, whatever, I wanted to be used right. And he also has stupid ear tufts, because I really like ear tufts. And that hat was the bane of my existence. I hated that hat. Eventually I just grabbed an image of it and just traced it. And yeah, you see me like literally going and tracing it, and I'm just like, this looks bad. I still remember like the fandom breaking when Janice was revealed, because it was fucking Janice. Nothing I'd really been heard of, but yeah. The cloak was also a little bit of a struggle, because like it covers so much of his body. I also tried to make it as accurate as possible. So yeah. So I kind of just did like a little front half, like over my shoulder and stuff. And of course I added the gloves and everything like that. I really tried to push myself with this. I did know going into this, I still wanted to keep like that half face look, because he does have like half of a face. He's also a lot more yellow, which looks more green, which is when it's darker, which is kind of unintentional, but also intentional a little bit, especially with Remus. I just generally played around with his colors a lot more, because again, he's like a very sickly green in his original design. I also gave him thin swirly stripes, kind of a very mixture of like similar to. Sorry, I've been recording so long, my computer just like went to sleep. It's a mix. His stripes are a mixture of Virgil and then also Logan. I also gave him a lighter side of the face with the purple magenta-ish markings or whatever. So yeah. I do imagine it being scaly. I didn't want to draw that texture, so I just didn't. And you may see me make a note of that hat that I hate. I hate that hat. I of course give him heterochromia because like yellow snake eye, and then like one eyes. Remus. Okay, so I did tell myself that I'm not going to design the orange side until we know what he looks like, so that's why this is sort of incomplete at the moment. I knew I wanted him to be a lot pointier compared to Roman because he's creepy and he's of course like himself or whatever. I did try to like experiment a little bit more with his posing, kind of like raising the paw, lowering the head, and also giving him like a little kink in the tail. I hadn't tried that before, so this was brand new. He's also like surprisingly fluffy, but also really messy. I also gave him sharp teeth because he needs sharp teeth. Kind of did something similar to like his cheek fur or whatever. The mustache was the problem. I of course gave him his sash, kind of like mirror his brother. The mustache was the problem because I'm like, I've drawn kind of like mustaches before on cats. How the fuck am I gonna do this? Because I just did it as a marking before, and I'm like, I eventually made it look good, and it's fine, whatever. I also kind of gave him a hair tuft again. I forgot I gave him a hair tuft. Kind of like swishes forward because why not? He's also a lot paler yellow compared to the cream that Roman is. I did desaturate a little bit. He overall looks a lot less green compared to Janice, but he is still kind of green. I wasn't sure how to incorporate the silvers, kind of gray, so I just didn't. I kind of messed around with his tail design a little bit. I gave him big, thick stripes because I wanted it to kind of like contrast, again, his brother, because the two are so similar but also so different. Like their silhouettes are both very different, and that's really what I wanted. I kind of gave him like the cheeks on it, the stripes on the side almost looks like sideburns, which is unintentional. I'm just now noticing while I'm editing because why the fuck not? But yeah, I also forgot that he has like these eye bags, which I added later. I kind of messed around with his eyes. I made it browner. But overall, he's just a lot more pointier than Roman and a lot messier and grungier. I guess I actually really enjoy this a lot more than the original design. I don't know what the fuck I was on. Crack, I think. Alright, speedrun time of everybody's final designs, which look so much better than the original. I don't know what I was on. Why did I keep doing gray on top of light brown? It should have been like light brown on top of like gray. I don't even know. But yeah, they're all here. They're all done. I really like all of them. It's really nice to go back and just see how my designs have evolved over time. Obviously, these guys are a lot more complex, but they're also a lot more cohesive, I guess. Yeah, I just really like all these guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll do more stuff like this eventually. Peace out. Have a great day. Goodbye. Stay safe in the storm.